This is Nightline and I'm Muhammed Hamdan, and here are the top stories. Appointments of top judges must be handled with care, says Istana Negara. And US top diplomat says room for negotiations on 25% tariff rate still open. Good morning. The appointment of Superior Court judges is a matter of national importance and must be handled with care and integrity in accordance with the federal constitution. In a statement on Thursday, Istana Negara emphasized that the matter should not be politicized by any party. According to the statement, judicial appointments must reflect the principles of good governance and uphold the constitutional balance of powers. They must be carried out in accordance with Article 122B of the Federal Constitution, which stipulates that the appointment of judges is made by the Yang di-Pertuan Agong on the advice of the Prime Minister after consultation with the Conference of Rulers. This clearly reflects the principle of checks and balances within the country's judicial system. The statement also emphasized that the Judicial Appointments Commission Act 2009 provides the legal framework for the selection of judicial candidates. However, the authority to advise the Yang di-Pertuan Agong ultimately lies with the Prime Minister. The palace further stressed that all appointments must be conducted lawfully to ensure that the authority of the Yang di-Pertuan Agong is not politicized by any party. In a related development, the Conference of Rulers, which will convene from Tuesday to next Thursday, is expected to discuss the vacancies for the posts of Chief Justice and President of the Court of Appeal. The Cabinet has given its assurance that the appointments to fill these vacancies will be made in full compliance with the Federal Constitution. This was revealed by Minister in the Prime Minister's Department for Law and Institutional Reform, Datuk Seri Azalina Othman Said. In a statement on Thursday, Azalina said that the government will conduct a preliminary comparative research on the judicial appointment systems in several countries that use approaches similar to those used in Malaysia. The selected countries include the United Kingdom, India, Australia and Singapore. The study aims to evaluate effective judicial appointment models and recommend reforms that are appropriate for Malaysia's context as a constitutional monarchy and in line with the federal constitution. The matter was agreed upon during a preliminary discussion between Azalina and the chairman of Dewan Negara Special Select Committee on Law Review, Senator Rita Sarimah Patrick Insol, as well as the chairman of Dewan Rakyat Special Select Committee on Human Rights, Election and Institutional Reform, William Leong, who is also Selayang Member of Parliament. The 25% import tariff proposed by Washington on Malaysian goods has yet to be finalized. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim said Malaysia still has about a month to negotiate and present its position on the matter in the interests of both countries. The new development was chaired by United States Secretary of State Marco Rubio, who is currently in Kuala Lumpur for the 58th ASEAN Foreign Ministers meeting. During a 45-minute meeting with Anwar on Thursday, Rubio also outlined Washington's position on the proposed tariff. Speaking to reporters, Anwar described his meeting with Rubio as beneficial, citing Washington's openness to review trade tariffs and its ongoing engagement with Malaysia and ASEAN.
Kita bagikan soal tarif oleh Presiden Trump. Dia menyatakan bahawa surat itu surat secara umum, tapi masih punya waktu selama 1 bulan untuk runding, dan dia tahu bahawa Malaysia adalah negara dagang yang utama dengan Amerika di rantau ini, dan dia akan berikan pertimbangan dan kemukakan pandangan kita.
Rubio also gave assurance to Anwar that despite the import tariffs imposed on several ASEAN countries, the administration of US President Donald Trump continues to recognize the importance of maintaining strong economic and diplomatic relations with the region. On Gaza, the Prime Minister said that Rubio appeared optimistic that a ceasefire would be reached.
Mengenai Gaza, saya tekankan bahawa pembantaian kekejaman harus dihentikan. Dia menyatakan bahawa maklumat terakhir ialah usaha keras dan dia nampak yakin akan ada gencatan senjata membolehkan bantuan kemanusiaan Palestine dan Gaza.
Previously, ceasefire negotiations were reported to have reached a phased agreement. However, attacks by the Israeli regime are still ongoing. Meanwhile, Rubio emphasized that the tariffs imposed by the U.S. are part of a broader effort to rebalance its economy on a global scale. The U.S. top diplomat said the move is consistent with President Trump's long-standing belief that the global trade landscape has disadvantaged American workers and its industries. According to the U.S. top diplomat, Southeast Asian countries will receive the letter regarding the tariffs at some point, but may be offered more favorable tariff rates following discussions.
This is an effort to rebalance that at a global scale. I would say that when all is said and done, many of the countries in Southeast Asia are going to have tariff rates that are actually better than countries in other parts of the world, and it could be a benefit.
Rubio said this on the sidelines of the 58th ASEAN Foreign Ministers meeting on Thursday. He also confirmed that talks with the bloc's member states will take place in the coming weeks. Rubio further hinted at the possibility of Trump attending the upcoming ASEAN summit in Malaysia in October.
Possible, yes. Oh, we're working on getting a date for that, absolutely.
On Tuesday, Trump announced new tariffs on imports from countries including ASEAN members such as Malaysia, Indonesia, Laos, Thailand and Myanmar, which will face duties ranging from 25% to 40% if no agreement is reached with Washington by August 1st. Now, maintaining the good relationship between the U.S. and ASEAN is key in talks to reduce the rate of trade tariffs imposed on the region. Geostrategist Azmi Hassan believes that Malaysia, with its role as ASEAN chair, has effectively conveyed the bloc's neutral stance while urging member states to keep tariff negotiations open.
Well, true enough, there is a perception that Malaysia is more closer to China and Russia compared to United States. Perception. And I think when we talk about tariff, Malaysia as the chairman of ASEAN did advise other ASEAN members do not take any retaliatory action to put tariff on their own. No, open up the door of discussion.
He also noted that Malaysia voiced ASEAN's stance on global conflicts, including the Israel-Iran war, as well as the crisis in Gaza.
And also on the global issues, whether it's Gaza or the Iran-Israel war, Malaysia did advise, or Malaysia as a chairman want ASEAN not to be sided with other superpowers. When ASEAN comment on Gaza, for example, it is the rule of law. When ASEAN comment on the Iran-Israel war, it's all about the rule of law.
Now, ASEAN is confident of concluding an effective and substantive Code of Conduct, COC, for the South China Sea in the not-too-distant future. Foreign Minister Dr. Sri Muhammad Hassan also noted ASEAN's positive reception of the progress on the COC in the South China Sea. The Foreign Minister said this in his opening remarks at the ASEAN Post-Ministerial Conference with China in the federal capital on Thursday.
We are confident that with the full commitment of all parties in the negotiations, we should be able to conclude an effective and substantive COC in the not-too-distant future.
Additionally, Muhammad commended China's readiness to sign and ratify the Southeast Asian Nuclear Weapon-Free Zone Treaty, marking a milestone in non-proliferation efforts. He said Malaysia welcomes China's readiness to become the first nuclear weapon state to sign and ratify the treaty. Australia remains steadfast in keeping its markets open to ASEAN as part of a broader commitment to deepening regional economic and strategic cooperation. Foreign Minister Penny Wong said Australia's partnership with ASEAN had always been grounded in mutual benefit and a shared responsibility to uphold regional peace, prosperity and openness. During her address at an Australia-Southeast Asia forum on Thursday, Wong said that ASEAN remained Australia's second-largest trading partner. In 2019, total trade between ASEAN and Australia reached 122.2 billion Australian dollars.
It continues to stand by our trade agreements and we will make them even stronger. Our recent upgrade to ANZFTA demonstrate our shared commitment to a rules-based trading system with the WTO at its core and Australia's enduring economic commitment to ASEAN.
Wong said that Australia had long opened its economy to the region, dismantling tariff barriers, deregulating labour and capital markets, and committing to economic integration. Moving on, Canada views the proposed ASEAN-Canada Free Trade Agreement, or ACAFTA, as a crucial step toward fostering inclusive and resilient economic growth for both regions. The pact aligns with Canada's Indo-Pacific strategy, focusing on trade expansion, supply chain stability, and sustainable development. Foreign Minister Anita Anand led Canada's delegation at the ASEAN-Canada Post-Ministerial Conference, which brought together ASEAN's top diplomats as part of a broader effort to strengthen regional ties with like-minded partners at a transformative juncture in global affairs. ASEAN ministers acknowledged the positive momentum in the ongoing ACAFTA negotiations and the agreement's potential to catalyze cooperation in high-growth, future-oriented sectors.
We have momentum in our relationship with a sustained tempo of high-level engagement between ASEAN and Canada.
The deal, when concluded, is expected to serve as a key economic pillar within Canada's Indo-Pacific strategy, offering a framework to align regulations, foster innovation, and enhance regional resilience. The Royal Malaysian Police, PDRM, is focusing its efforts on recovering the black box and retrieving the wreckage of its helicopter that crashed into Sungai Pulai in Johor on Thursday. Inspector General of Police, Datuk Seri Muhammad Khalid Ismail, stated that a thorough investigation will be conducted by the Air Accident Investigation Bureau to determine the cause of the incident. According to Muhammad Khalid, the recovery operation will require specialized expertise and support from multiple agencies due to the depth of the river, which is estimated at 25 feet.
Kita belum pasti lagi sebab kita memerlukan bantuan dan pertolongan daripada agensi yang berkaitan, mungkin juga pihak ketiga kan, kerana ia memerlukan kepakaran untuk menimbulkan bangkai helikopter tersebut. Saya percaya kedalaman sungai ini juga menjadi punca kepada ke arah itu.
The top cop also gave his assurance that the police would continue to ensure the welfare of the affected officers and personnel. Several clips of the 10:25 a.m. incident have been circulating online, showing the moment the AS-355N helicopter from the PDRM Air Wing Unit went down while performing a flypast during the Malaysia-Indonesia-Thailand-Singapore Maritime Operation 2025 training exercise. The helicopter had departed from the Tanjung Kupang police station at 9:51 a.m. before crashing near the Malaysian Maritime Enforcement Agency MMEA Operations Jetty in Gelang Patah. The victims were identified as helicopter pilot Assistant Commissioner Faizul Muhammad, co-pilot Superintendent Ahmad Bustamim Baharum, Air Observer Corporal Adeline Liu Yansiu, as well as Sergeant Siti Latifah Khairuddin, who is attached to the Tanjung Kupang police station, and Constable R.G. Devendran, who is attached to Iskandar Putri District Police Headquarters. All 5 are being treated at the Sultanah Aminah Hospital in Johor Bahru. 2 remain in critical condition and are on assisted ventilation, while the remaining 3 are reported to be in stable condition. Selangor has strengthened its status as Malaysia's top economic contributor, charting a record-high gross domestic product GDP of 432.1 billion ringgit in 2024. Invest Selangor Berhad reported that this is an increase from the 406.1 billion ringgit recorded in 2023, making Selangor the only state to surpass 400 billion ringgit in GDP for 2 consecutive years. The state's share of the national GDP also rose to 26.2% compared to 25.9% in the previous year. Selangor's GDP expanded by 6.3% year-on-year, outpacing the national growth rate of 5.1%, reflecting the state's broad-based economic strength underpinned by solid fundamentals and sustained investor interest. Selangor also accounted for 32.9% of Malaysia's total manufacturing output, reaffirming its role as a key industrial hub, while leading the services sector with a 26.9% share of the national total. US President Donald Trump announced on Wednesday that Washington will impose a 50% tariff on all imports from Brazil after his Brazilian counterpart called him an unwanted emperor. In a letter, Trump accused Brazil of attacking US tech companies and conducting a witch hunt against former President Jair Bolsonaro, who faces charges over an alleged plot to overturn the 2022 election. In response, Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva vowed to retaliate with tariffs of his own and warned against interfering in Brazil's judiciary. The US is Brazil's second-largest trading partner after China, and the tariffs are a major increase from the 10% announced in April. Trump's letter said the 50% tariff will start August 1st and will be separate from all sectoral tariffs. Properties worth over 620 million ringgit seized in op fiber probe. This and more from the local front after this breather.
Sekarang kan tengah musim hujan dan banjir. Jika anda tidak mampu menyelamatkan masa banjir, carilah bantuan daripada pihak yang pakar dalam kerja menyelamat. Jangan bahayakan diri anda. Fikir sebelum bertindak. Anda mampu menyelamatkan nyawa.
Thanks for staying with us. The Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission, MACC, has questioned 10 individuals, including shareholders of a company supplying milk to the government, as part of investigations into a suspected 120 million ringgit milk powder supply cartel. MACC Chief Commissioner Tan Sri Azambaki said that the cartel is being probed for tax evasion, corruption, price manipulation and monopolistic practices. Initial investigations reveal that most of the companies awarded government tenders had no prior involvement in the food and beverage sector. Some of these companies reportedly reaped profits ranging from 10 to 50% from the milk powder supply. Sources reveal that the MACC has uncovered the company's ownership structure, which is linked to several distributors within the milk powder supply chain. The company, owned by a husband and wife duo and their 2 children, is also accused of failing to meet the required product safety and quality standards. The MACC has frozen 75 bank accounts with a combined value of 176.6 million ringgit and seized various documents for further investigations. In a separate case, the MACC have seized properties worth over 620 million ringgit following investigations under Op Fiber, which involved a bank loan scandal. The assets include bungalows, condominiums, office premises, land lots, and a golf club located in the Klang Valley. According to sources, the suspect is believed to be a shareholder in the golf club linked to the case. The MACC also seized 4 luxury vehicles worth about 2 million ringgit, in addition to freezing 72 bank accounts involving approximately 390,000 ringgit. So far, 9 witnesses have provided their statements to assist in the investigation. On June 30th, a company director with the title Datuk Wira was remanded for his alleged involvement in money laundering activities amounting to 75 million ringgit. The case is related to the approval of loan financing by banking institutions to a company involved in a 400 million ringgit fibre network development project in 2012. Two teenagers were charged at the Sepang Magistrates Court in Selangor in connection with the death of a 20-year-old private university student last month. 19-year-old M. Sri Darwin, an odd job worker, was charged with the murder of Manisha Preet Kaur Akara under the Penal Code. No plea was recorded as the case falls under the jurisdiction of the High Court. His co-accused, D. Tineswari, also 19 and a student, was charged with abetting Darwin in committing the offence. Both accused indicated they understood the charges when they were read out before Magistrate Khairatul Animah Jelani. Darwin allegedly committed the offence between 9:11 p.m. and 11:31 p.m. on June 23rd at Mutiara Ville, Persiaran Multimedia in Cyberjaya. Tineswari is accused of committing the offence at about 12:30 p.m. on the same day and at the same location. The offence is punishable by death. If the death penalty is not imposed, it carries imprisonment of not less than 30 years and not more than 40 years, along with not fewer than 12 strokes of the cane. No bail was offered, and the court fixed September 11th for case mention. Manisha Preet from Kuching, Sarawak was found dead in her condominium unit in Cyberjaya on June 24th. Initial investigations found no signs of forced entry or sexual assault. A post-mortem confirmed the cause of death as blunt force trauma to the head. And this, another court case in Selangor. A social media influencer known as CEO Batu was charged at the Yampang Sessions Court with exposing his genitals to a 14-year-old girl 2 months ago. The 22-year-old accused, Muhammed, pleaded not guilty when the charge was read before Judge Nurshila Kamarudin. Muhammad Iqbal allegedly committed non-physical sexual abuse by exposing his genitals to the teenager near Sunway Batu Caves at about 1 a.m. on May 16th. He was charged under the Sexual Offences Against Children Act 2017, which carries a maximum penalty of 10 years imprisonment, a fine of up to 20,000 ringgit, or both upon conviction. The court set bail at 6,000 ringgit with one surety and set August 14th for case mention. South Korea's ex-leader returns to jail. The details when Nightline returns.
A woman's spirit is boundless. So grab your coffee cups and wear your sassiest smile. Because this season, we're louder than ever. We talk career, health, finance, relationships, and everything in between. Women's Talk is here to empower and inspire you. Join us on Women's Talk every Saturday, 5 p.m. only on TV3 and stream now on Thursday.
News from the foreign front. South Korea's former president Yoon Suk-yeol has been arrested for a second time and returned to a solitary jail cell over his ill-fated attempt to impose martial law last December. Yoon's detention on Thursday came after a court in Seoul ordered his arrest, citing concerns that the former leader could seek to destroy evidence. A special counsel team argued for the arrest warrant on 5 key charges, including Yoon's alleged violation of the rights of cabinet members by not inviting some of them to a meeting before he declared martial law. The 64-year-old is being held at the Seoul Detention Center, where he spent 52 days earlier in the year before being released 4 months ago on technical grounds. Yoon was released from detention in March after the Seoul Central District Court overturned his January arrest, allowing him to stand trial for insurrection without being held in custody. At least 15 Palestinians, including 8 children and 2 women, have been killed in an Israeli strike near a medical point in central Gaza on Thursday. The Al-Aqsa Martyrs Hospital said the strike hit people queuing for nutritional supplements in the town of Deir al-Balah. The Zionist military stated that it had targeted Hamas operatives in the area and expressed regret for any harm caused to uninvolved individuals. It added that the incident is currently under review. An additional 26 people were reportedly killed in airstrikes in other parts of Gaza, raising the death toll to 82 in the past 24 hours. Israeli and Hamas delegations in the meantime continued negotiations for a new ceasefire and hostage release deal at indirect talks in Doha. Search teams on Thursday began scouring a lake south of the Philippine capital Manila for dozens of cockfighters allegedly murdered by rogue police. A Justice Department spokesperson said that the Philippine Coast Guard and police made an initial trip to prepare for future dives, which may go as deep as 30 meters. 15 police officers are under investigation over a spate of mysterious disappearances in 2022 in the country's huge cockfighting industry. The case erupted back into public consciousness last month, with the televised appearance of a witness claiming to know where bodies had been submerged in Lake Taal. The witness claimed that as many as 100 people were murdered over their alleged involvement in match fixing, killed by police moonlighting for an online cockfight operator. Justice Secretary Crispin Remula has since said that he has multiple witnesses who can identify the location of the missing in the lake. Sports now, badminton. National women's doubles shuttlers Pearly Tan and M. Tina finally inked the deal to remain with the Badminton Association of Malaysia BAM until 2028 on Thursday. The deal was signed at BAM's office in Bukit Kiara in Kuala Lumpur at about 6 p.m. The world number 3 pair, relieved by the new agreement, are determined to redouble their efforts to achieve even greater success with the national team.
We are really relieved that everything has come to an agreement, and yeah, we are now just looking forward.
Yeah. So for now, kita boleh sangat fokus on our badminton, and kita harap kita boleh maintain ni form untuk all the tournaments lah.
The duo's previous contract expired last December, but they have now finalized new terms. Pearly Tina will next focus on 3 big tournaments: the Japan Open next week, the China Open from July 22nd to 27th, and the World Championships in Paris in August. Moving on to football now, the 2025 FIFA Club World Cup. Paris Saint-Germain looked every bit a team on the verge of a dynasty after Luis Enrique's side demolished another European giant, this time Real Madrid, with a resounding 4-0 win to set up a final showdown against Chelsea. Fabian Ruiz and Ousmane Dembele scored inside the opening 9 minutes to stun Real and silence most of the 77,542 fans in white at MetLife Stadium outside New York. The Spanish midfielder added another before half-time, and Goncalo Ramos got a late fourth as Enrique's side moved one game away from glory at FIFA's new tournament. A win against Chelsea on Sunday would cap a remarkable season for the Parisians, who lifted the French title and secured their first ever UEFA Champions League crown in May. And turning to cycling, the 2025 Tour de France, Belgian Remco Evenepoel lived up to his status as favourite by winning Stage 5's individual time trial on Wednesday, while defending champion Tadej Pogačar took over the yellow jersey. Evenepoel, Olympic and world time trial champion, completed a 33-kilometre course around Caen in 36 minutes and 42 seconds, finishing 16 seconds ahead of Pogačar, while Italy's Edoardo Affini finished third. With the result, Pogačar now leads the general classification by 42 seconds over Evenepoel, who jumped from 9th to 2nd overall. Mathieu van der Poel slipped to 6th, trailing by 1 minute and 28 seconds. Pogačar, chasing a 4th Tour title, had earlier drawn level with Van der Poel after Tuesday's stage win, but the time trial has now delivered the first major shake-up in the race. And that concludes Nightline this time around. Before we leave, let's take a look at the French Air Force as military planes, helicopters and aerobatic teams sweep over the Champs-Élysées during a rehearsal for Paris's July 14th aerial parade. With that, I'm Muhammed. Hamdan. Thanks for watching.